Standing right there. Holy crap. What do you want? What the fuck? Why are you walking away?
My name is Terry Linch. I have a team of ufologists that I work with here in Lapine, Oregon. Jonathan Mitchell and his son, Mason Mitchell. We go out and we investigate all the different buttes that are in the local area here. We go to the top, we look at the mountains, we're watching. I set up my tripods, I try and find the pathways of the craft. My stepson and I, we were on our way to work. It was during the eclipse. There was a lunar eclipse. This is the 28th of January, 2019. It was a regular morning. You know, we were taking off. We were having a cup of coffee before we took off for work, getting ready. Not much going on that morning. As a matter of fact, I did notice that it was like extra dark. It seemed like the night sky was as dark I'd ever seen. We ended up getting in the car, we took off down my driveway, and we head out onto Highway 97, and we live in Lapine, Oregon. It's about a 30-mile trip to Bend from here. So we're going down 97. For some reason, it felt extra dull that morning. I mean, it was like nothing. We didn't even really talk. Usually we talk a little bit on the way into work, or we listen to some music. We didn't even listen to music that morning. We got on up to Wilson Street and Bend, and we started heading in towards Business Way, which is the way we work for Kealoha Paddle, stand-up board paddles, and outrigger canoe paddles and stuff. So we get up to the turn into Business Way. As we're approaching it, up in the sky over the top of this billboard was it was 5 spheres. There was one that was extremely large in the middle, and it was in a V shape. Okay, it was in a V formation. I believe it was 5 separate craft that had. The only reason I know this term is because after seeing that craft, I went to seek answers. While we were coming in, I came to a complete stop at the Business Way turn, and we were looking up and above.
That's some straight UFO shit right there.
It's like a big green wood shop building off on Wilson Street and 9th, where it crosses. And there's a set of train tracks also that go right behind that building. Well, this craft was over the billboard. It was over the train tracks, and it had a small sphere, the 5th one, coming from over by an apartment complex, slowly, very slowly hovering back. And it was these orange fireballs that you usually see. And it slowly went over and it reattached. And as soon as it reattached, okay, say you're in my car driving up, and you're with me in the car. So over here, this ball attaches to this side. Pink, the second it attaches, that's when I start noticing this craft looks like it's on water. It's just kind of floating in our atmosphere, buoyant. And then it starts to turn towards me like this. It just starts to lift and turn. As it's doing this slow turn, that's exactly the moment when I noticed that there was a pilot inside this craft. And this pilot was a large, like, gray. Not quite seeing it full face yet. I'm watching it do stuff. It's adjusting things. You can see it doing things and adjusting things. And you see it take its hand, and it takes its hand and puts it up like this, and you see it like it's bringing something down like this. And when it's bringing something down, it looks straight at me. And then it had kind of a look of surprise, and it smiled at me. The second this thing smiled at me, fight or flight, okay? Before it smiled, me and my stepson both said that we felt a calming come over us, okay? This calming probably was a good thing. It still hasn't affected him like it's affected me.
My name is Ryan Keaton. I live in Northwest San Antonio. I'm an Air Force veteran, do garage doors for a living. And it's been pretty crazy. That's why I contacted y'all. So everything started about a year ago. I had a rough 4 years. I'm kind of had a car accident. My dad passed away. My brother committed suicide. I had a friend of mine for over 20 years commit suicide, and then I got into another car accident. So I was pretty down and out. I remember telling my wife that I needed something pretty miraculous to happen. And about 3 or 4 days after I told her that, that's when I started seeing all of the lights and the contact that I've been witnessing. Well, the first time I had seen anything, I was sitting out in the garage. I had walked out into the driveway, and I'd looked out in front of me, and there was a light off in the distance. And I was like, wait, that doesn't look like a star. And I understand that the atmosphere can make stars, twinkle a little bit different with the light, but it looked weird. And as I got my wife to come up, I looked behind me, and the first video I ever shot is when I did it. And there was a light that was sitting about a quarter mile away from my backyard, and it was a white light, but it was floating like a boat in the sea, but it was moving, and I had no idea what it was. My wife didn't even know what it was. And I was like, airplanes, helicopters, they don't fly like that. And it didn't have the red and green nav light, so it didn't have the blinking light on, because I'm pretty familiar with some of the FAA regulations and that stuff. But, we do live around a lot of military installations, so I was like, maybe it's just military stuff. The lights that I know or the aircraft that I know doesn't show up on the app, I know flies in a direct line. It's not just gonna sit there. But I didn't know, for one, I didn't know who to contact, and two, I don't think they would tell me even if I would. I contacted MUFON. When I contacted them, the investigator that I had gotten, we had talked for almost 2 hours on the phone, and he said, I don't know what it is, but they didn't think I had enough evidence to come out and instigate further. So that's why, that's one of the reasons why I never went back to them, because they kind of blew me off. And I didn't know anywhere else to go. I was still new to it. I didn't know anybody. I understand it's just a light, but when you're here standing, looking at it with your eyes, it's completely different than a video. You know, that's kind of some of the things that you'll run into when I'm posting videos and stuff online. Everyone, you know, you send a 30-second video in, they automatically know what it is. And it's a lot different when you're standing there looking at it with your own two eyes. So I do live feeds when I go out and look. And one of my listeners that have been watching me live, she actually told me to contact you. She knew that I had been kind of experiencing this and kind of seeing it, and I didn't know what it was, and that I needed some further help. So that's why I kind of contacted Joe. Yep, there. It's on the other side of the light post. Here we go. And you can see how there's something around it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that one's good. Look at that. That one. It's huge. Gotten real big. Something's there. Something's messing with the camera. And you can see this one too. There's something going on there. Yeah. And then this is the one that first one I took over here. And you can see how it almost looks like a triangle.
Just now, we just got that right now.
Mm-hmm. No, so the lights that I see on these objects, for the most part, they're solid, but as I'm watching them, they can sit there for 10, 15, 20 minutes. And then when they fly off, like in a straight line or anywhere that they're going, they'll start to blink, just like a strobe light almost. But the thing that gets me is, how can you be sitting there for that long and then all of a sudden take off and then you're blinking? And then you don't see the red and the green nav lights that are on. So it always baffled me, what is that? Why is it sitting there like that?
Southeast approved, 6 Papa 16.
My name is Robert Breaux. I'm from New Orleans, Louisiana. I've lived in Southeast Texas since 2005. I moved from Anchorage, Alaska. Ryan Keaton. I had seen him on Facebook, and he was videotaping the sky, and just knowing what was happening to me, it drawn me to watching his live cast on Facebook. It started in April of 2020. Me and my daughter were outside just really late at night, and just saw something in the sky that intrigued me. The bright flashing star.
is back.
And I just kept filming and looking up at the sky, and it just started happening more frequently. My daughter's seen it as well, and it ended up scaring her, but she was intrigued by it as well.
Crap, I wasn't fast enough.
There it goes. That's just freaking weird shit.
My hands smell like Doritos from eating them earlier.
I just seen a flash right in the center of the road, real low, way up there.
I can't wait to watch all these videos when we get home.
Look.
What is that? What is that?
Did you see that?
What was that?
I don't know. Did you get it on camera?
Yes, I got it on camera, but what was
I
that?
have no clue, but it was close.
What was that? It was almost like a...
That gave me freaking...
And it just kept me interested in looking up at the sky constantly, and it was more than what I expected. It was in the middle of the night. The first time that we saw it was probably about 1 o'clock in the morning, and it was just an orb light in the sky that was making some erotic movements. And at first I thought it was a plane, but then when it came to a stop and then did like a 90-degree turn, I knew that wasn't right. I was amazed. You're always taught growing up that aliens don't exist and UFOs don't exist, and when I seen it, it blew my mind, because I knew it wasn't a plane, I knew it wasn't a helicopter, and when me and my daughter seen it, it blew our mind, and it scared her. I mean, I was intrigued at first, but it scared her because of my reaction and her reaction, because we're taught that these things don't exist. I was in my house, and the orbs and the black shadows were just all over the place, and I was getting freaked out, but at this time I was wanting to face my fears and acknowledge it. I ended up coming outside, and in these woods right back here is where I seen what I can basically call, what I call the Five Sisters. They were standing shoulder to shoulder. Couldn't make out anything in their face. They were pure white, maybe about 6 feet tall. And they were about maybe 10 feet into the woods. And I was standing right here next to this oak tree. And I was telling them, I'm not afraid of you. I'm not afraid of you. And then they just floated right up to the edge of the woods right there. This was in December, so all the foliage on the trees, you could see all the way back into the woods. And they just floated right up to the edge of the street, and I was kind of freaked out, but out of my peripheral vision to my right a little bit, way in the back, there was this entity, and seeing that on this side, it floated across the street and came up onto the grass area, maybe about 15 feet away from me. And it just kept getting closer and closer, and when it got about 7 feet away from me is when I backed off and I went into my house. And I was terrified, because it was a very scary feeling. I didn't feel that it was friendly. I felt like it was there to almost attack.
I was never like fully involved in UFOlogy. I always was interested in it. I always loved to look in the sky and wonder what was out there, if it's just us or if there's many others out there. But I never, I'd never had any activity. I'd never seen anything. But I always had a big question mark in my head, wondering what was some of these sightings that were on the news and so on.
Released the findings from its year-long study of UFOs, and well, it doesn't really clear anything up.
It basically says that those strange objects in the sky are, well, they're still a mystery, and our Rob Hayes is here to explain.
Yeah, over the past year or so, we've been hearing a lot about these unexplained objects flying in the sky and how the government is taking a closer look at them.
Called the biggest cover-up in history. UFO whistleblowers allege the U.S. government has been in possession of, quote, non-human craft since the 1930s. The head of the Pentagon's UFO office calls the allegation insulting, saying there's no evidence.
All right, so we're out here with Ryan shooting the above that area over there. That's pretty much kind of like a military base. And that's how you see a lot of craft up in this area.
In the driveway right there, right, looking up, and there was a Cessna 172 flying over at about 2,000 feet. For some reason, I was like, I want to film this. So as I'm grabbing my phone out, the plane itself, there's this huge orange light that surrounded the airplane, and then it disappeared. I couldn't hear it, and I couldn't see it anymore. And I have a picture of, I was able to get a picture of right before it disappeared all the way, there's like an orange mist. The plane disappeared, and I was the only one to see it, so it's kind of like, who do I tell that to without sounding, nuts? But that was probably one of the crazier things that I've seen.
As the evening progressed, after looking at his satellite application, we noticed there was two strange objects up in the sky right above the horizon. We didn't realize exactly what we were looking at until we stood there for further investigation with the crew, until we finally saw what we came for. What we were looking at was real proof of contact.
See him do something like this before, and a third one had popped in out of nowhere too.
Hey, you're right over each other. Thank you.
Yep.
Look. Yeah. San Antonio, Texas. San Antonio outside the outskirts.
That's awesome.
Hey, it's DP ufologist Chris Hamall here from Australia. I do analysis work on UAPs from around the globe. I've been fortunate enough to be given some footage from Ryan Keaton from San Antonio, Texas. This first bit of footage that we're going to have a look at appears to be a very large orb flying over the top of some rooftops in Texas. Under my close analysis, I've basically slowed down the footage to like a few frames per second, and I've put a dark filter on this bit of footage to see if there's anything more there that our eyes can't see. Under this analysis, you'll see that there is many small lights surrounding this one orb flying over the houses. I believe is the base of an aircraft, not a man-made aircraft. You'll see also under analysis, I put another filter on here to see if there is any electromagnetic field, which we call the EMF, which it clearly shows the disturbance around the craft. Great bit of footage here from Ryan. In my opinion, you've got a really nice UAP here.
10 tow taxis. We can send tow you outside the outskirts. Hey, it's DP ufologist Chris Hamall here from Australia. I do analysis work on UAPs from around the globe. I've been fortunate enough to be given some footage from Ryan Keaton from San Antonio, Texas. This first bit of footage appears to be a very large orb flying over the top of some rooftops in Texas. Under my close analysis, I've basically slowed down the footage to like a few frames per second, and I've put a dark filter on this bit of footage to see if there's anything more there that our eyes can't see.
it still hasn't affected him like it's affected me. Okay, he's still kind of, did that happen? But he was there, he saw it happen. He didn't see the pilot. He was so busy watching that thing attach, turn, and do all this other stuff, he didn't look at that pilot. I kind of wish he had seen the pilot like I did. That would have been, I think, a really good thing for him. I know it was absolutely a wonderful thing for me. I felt like there was a transfer of information that took place when this happened. And it was like, boom, man, my mind opened up. All of a sudden, things I didn't understand before, I'm starting to understand. But I understand complicated documents now, which is a good thing because I'm tying in with ufologists now in Mexico. The other part is my mind opened up to things like quantum sciences, the physics of crystals, the physics of quarks, levitation, quantum levitation. This is all stuff that after I had seen that, I had to go find out how it worked. I was a sergeant at arms of a motorcycle club. This is definitely the opposite. Science? Come on. Dude, I would have rather cleaned a spark plug. I would have rather had a shot of whiskey. I like shooting guns. I like going out and being wild, doing 120 miles an hour on a Harley. That's what my life was. I had the wild side, man. I loved going out. I had a beautiful four-wheel drive K5. I'd go out and just explore and play in. I had every type of rifle you could think of. That was what I loved to do. I like to go out and go shooting with my Mini 14s. I don't have that stuff anymore. I have what I need now. And I got to tell you, it's changed my view 100% around on life in this world. I have a complete respect for even the smallest little bug now. I don't know why that happened, but I do. I don't just step on bugs, I set them free. Oh wow, it changed me. I have more respect for life on the planet.
On your daughter's reaction, what was her reaction when it happened to her?
She was scared. She was terrified, actually, and it really progressed into a lot worse than what I would have expected. We both ended up getting burned. We were sitting in my truck when we were just looking at these lights in the sky, and my daughter screamed in terror, and I could tell that she was hurting. And I just got burned. And as soon as I looked over at her, then I got hit in the chest with a fire sensation that was unbelievable. It was bad, and I was so scared. Not just for me, but for her, because she's just a child, and no child should experience that. I put her in my arms and I started screaming, "Leave her alone." And we went inside, and I was terrified myself, but I was so sorry that it happened to her. I don't care if it happened to me, you know, but to her, it was something different. What I experienced in my house the end of last year, I don't know if it was ghosts. I don't know if it was paranormal. I don't know if it was UFOs, but it scared me. It scared me deeply, and it scared me so much that I had to leave my house. Since I moved out of Lumberton, Texas, I moved to Jasper, Texas, where I reside now. And there was this day back late 2022, I think it was the beginning of December of 2022, where I was outside and I seen this gnat thing in the sky that was vortexing, and once that one would go away, I'd see another one, and I just kept finding them in the sky, and I'd watch them go across the sky. And then the last time that I watched it go across the sky, I got this nauseous feeling in my body, and I had to go inside because it literally felt like I was gonna get sick. And when I went inside, things changed. I started seeing orbs. I seen shadows inside of my house, and then there was this entity type thing. I don't know what it was. It was about a 6 to 8 foot tall woman with her back to me, pure white. She didn't walk, she glided, and she went into my kitchen, and it scared the mess out of me.
Now, a lot of people claim that after witnessing UFOs, extraterrestrials, paranormal activity, have you ever had any, ever since then, or maybe a little bit before that, have you ever had any paralysis in your sleep or nightmares because of this?
Absolutely, PTSD. Having a problem sleeping, tossing and turning, waking up in the middle of the night with night sweats, having to sleep with the lights on, the TV on. So yeah, absolutely. I know for a fact wherever I am at, I feel like I'm being watched, and they know exactly where I'm at. I've been in the middle of the day driving in a car, and I just have that feeling that something is watching me. And it could be at nighttime. I've seen driving down the highway, and I have look up in the sky, and I see these lights following me. And whenever I get closer to a bigger city, the lights will go straight up higher into the sky. And then as soon as I get out of that city, they'll start lowering right back down at me, flying 75 miles an hour down the street just over the trees. I'm just trying to figure it out. I'm positive I can go to the doctor and tell them about it, but people judge you for something that they don't know about, and they will think that you're crazy.
¡Por Dios, qué es eso! ¿Qué es eso? ¡Ah! Mira, está muerto. Está muerto. ¿Qué pasa? ¿Qué es eso? Mira, mira. ¡Ya, saca el perro de aquí! ¡Saca el perro de aquí! Mira, está muerto. Mira, por Dios, está muerto. Mira que se abre aquí. Eso. ¿De dónde viene? Por ese lado, ese lado. ¡Cállate de aquí! Madre de Dios. ¡Cállate de aquí! ¡Cállate de aquí!
One night, I was actually sitting over here in my office, probably like again 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning, and out of one of my windows here, I heard 3 knocks and then gone. And I raced to the back door to see if someone was back in the backyard. No one was there. I don't know if they're interdimensional or not. I'm still at a place where I don't know if it's the government or if it's ETs. I really don't know what they are. That's one reason I've gotten into this so much, because I'm so curious and I want to try to figure it out. I may not figure it out, but I really like the chase of trying to. spiritual ghosts and aliens, that's a tough question because you would have to know what each one of those things are. I mean, and maybe they're one thing, maybe they're different things, but I don't know. I wish I knew. I've had a lot of trouble sleeping. Nothing of being paralyzed or feeling paralyzed, but I've had nightmares with aliens in it. You know, they either, I don't want to say they are showing me because I don't know if it's them or not, but I've seen, you know, some pretty drastic situations where cities are blowing up and stuff like that. But then on the other end, I've seen stuff where it seems like the ETs are here to help us. I've had a lot of dreams like that. Is it them doing that to me? I don't know. Or is it just because I'm into this so deep that it's just my mind just playing tricks on me? I don't know.
Mira eso, mira eso, mira. Mira, mira eso. ¿Hay algo ahí? Mira algo ahí. Míralo. Yo no sé qué carajo es eso, dale para atrás. Si no quieres saber. Dale. 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 Quiero saber. No quiero saber, dale. Dale. ¿No crees que yo vi algo? Es un ovni. No. Dale.
The ones that they call the large brown, they're like off of Orion's belt. That's where everybody says they come from. These large browns, they're like 7 foot tall, got a really long neck, a really small head. They drop their head down to about the center of their chest to make themselves about 5 foot tall. Really long arms and fingers. Everything I've ever heard about them is that they're really mean. When they do stuff, they put you in a paralysis state where you can't get away from them. They talk to you, I guess, the whole time. And from my understanding, they smell real bad. They're not the best smelling of critters. I've heard, or I've seen footage of a meeting in a military base where they're trying to describe this to a couple of soldiers that are supposedly. I'm not going to say this is a factual meeting. What I will say is I've seen this meeting. It looks like a meeting. It looks like that this guy's trying to prepare a couple guys for what they're about to see. And he's talking about that in particular alien. And he says where they're from. He tells you that they smell bad and that they've got bad attitudes, but that the government is working with these things.